All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today, we're virtually transporting ourselves back to the buzz of BIMworld Munich 2024,
Ooh, I'm ready.
specifically to SIMLAB CEO Marek Koźlak's presentation. Now, for our listeners out there, AEC pros, always hungry for what's next, this would have been right up your alley.
Absolutely. Future focused for sure.
Koźlak laid out a vision of the future for how we design, build, and manage buildings. And guess what's at the heart of it all?
Let me guess. Something about robots. Drones.
Not quite, though. Those might play a part. Think digital twin.
Digital twin. Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm sensing this wasn't just some pie-in-the-sky concept, though, right?
That's what was so cool. He was showing how SIMLAB is using this tech, like right now, to tackle a problem we all know too well in this industry.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say. Those pesky data silos.
Bingo. It's like the bane of our existence.
It really is. You've got mountains of information for every building.
Right.
Blueprints, BIM models, 3D scans, sensor data, maintenance logs. It's overwhelming.
And it's all locked away in separate systems, like trying to piece together a puzzle with half the pieces missing.
Perfect analogy. And that's where SIMLAB comes in, right? They're claiming to bridge the gap. How do they pull it off? What's the magic formula?
Well, they've got a two-pronged approach. First, they've developed these platforms, SIMLAB Stages and SIMON, specifically to wrangle all that data, bring it all under one roof.
Okay, makes sense. And second, what's the other half of the equation?
Partnerships. They're teaming up with some heavy hitters to make this whole digital twin thing work seamlessly. Think Matterport for those incredible 3D scans, Navis for capturing every nook and cranny with their indoor mapping, and of course, Procore, the king of construction project management.
Well, hold on. That's a lot of tech name dropping. I can practically hear our listeners' eyes glazing over. Let's break it down. How do these partnerships actually translate into real-world benefits? Like, what's in it for me as an architect, an engineer, a contractor?
Okay, let's take Matterport. Their scans are already widely used in AEC. When you integrate that with SIMLAB, you're creating a super accurate digital twin of an actual building.
Ah, okay, so I'm not just staring at a flat blueprint anymore. I can actually walk through a 3D model of the building, see everything in context.
Exactly. And it's not just a static snapshot either. Because this digital twin is constantly being fed data from Navis, Procore, all those partners, it's like a living, breathing representation of the building.
Now that's cool. Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. But this begs the question, who benefits most from this kind of digital ecosystem? It seems like it could be relevant for a ton of different players in the AEC world.
You're right, it does touch on so many aspects. Facility managers, architects, construction companies, insurance companies. SIMLAB claims their platforms have something to offer everyone.
Intriguing. Let's zero in on facility management for a sec. That's a world I know could use some serious streamlining. How does SIMLAB actually help those folks?
We're going to dive deep into that next. Stay tuned.
All right, can't wait.
So picture this. You're a facility manager. You're drowning in a sea of data, juggling a million tasks. How does SIMLAB help you navigate that chaos?
Well, it's about giving facility managers a better way to visualize and interact with all that information. It's not just about spreadsheets and reports anymore. It's about giving them a spatial 3D interface to work with.
So instead of staring at a screen full of numbers, I can actually walk through a virtual model of the building and see what's going on.
Exactly. And because that model is linked to real-time data from sensors and other systems, it's not just a static picture, it's a dynamic representation of what's happening in the building right now.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal. But can you give me a concrete example of how this would play out in a real-world scenario?
Sure. Let's say you get a call from a tenant complaining about a leak in their office. Instead of sending someone on a wild goose chase to try and figure out where the problem is, you can pull up the digital twin, zoom in on that specific office, and see exactly where the pipes are located. You can even check the sensor data to see if there's a pressure drop in that area, which might indicate the source of the leak.
Wow, that's impressive. But let's not forget about all the routine tasks that facility managers have to deal with. Things like preventative maintenance, inspections, all that fun stuff.
Right, those are all critical tasks, and they often get overlooked or forgotten in the day-to-day hustle. But with SIMLAB, those tasks can be scheduled, tracked, and managed much more effectively. You can set up automated reminders, assign tasks to specific team members, and even track their progress in real time.
So no more missed inspections or forgotten maintenance tasks. That's a huge win in terms of efficiency, not to mention preventing potential problems down the line.
Exactly, and it's not just about efficiency. By having all of this information centralized and accessible in one platform, it makes it much easier to analyze trends, identify potential issues, and make data-driven decisions about how to optimize building performance.
Speaking of optimization, I imagine building owners are pretty happy about that aspect of SIMLAB as well. After all, fewer emergency repairs, lower energy bills, that all translates to a healthier bottom line.
Absolutely. Building owners are always looking for ways to reduce costs and improve the value of their assets, and SIMLAB gives them the tools to do that.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about facility management, but let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the design phase. How does SIMLAB help architects and designers, especially those who are constantly battling the gap between their vision and the reality of construction?
Well, one of the biggest challenges in the design process is communication. Architects and designers spend countless hours creating detailed drawings and models, but those plans often get lost in translation when it comes to actually building the structure.
Oh, I've heard horror stories about that. Walls getting built in the wrong place, ceiling details getting messed up, all sorts of things. It can lead to delays, costly rework, and a whole lot of frustration.
Exactly. And that's where SIMLAB comes in. By integrating the design models with the 3D scans of the as-built conditions, it creates a platform for much more effective communication and collaboration between the design team and the construction team.
So instead of just sending drawings back and forth, the architect can actually see how the construction is progressing in relation to their design and identify any discrepancies or potential problems early on.
Precisely. And if there is a problem, they can use the platform to communicate directly with the construction team, annotate the 3D model, and work together to find a solution.
It's like having a virtual meeting right there on the construction site, except everyone can see the issues and discuss solutions in a clear visual way.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just about catching errors, it's also about fostering a more collaborative design process. Imagine being able to walk through a virtual model of the building with the client, get their feedback in real time, and make adjustments on the fly.
That would certainly make for a more engaging and interactive design review process. No more static presentations or trying to decipher red lines on paper drawings.
Exactly. And as we move towards more integrated design processes where architects, engineers, and contractors are working together from the very beginning, this kind of real-time collaboration becomes even more essential.
Okay, so we've seen how SIMLAB benefits facility managers and architects. Now let's talk about the folks who are actually building these structures, the construction companies and general contractors. They're always under pressure to deliver projects on time and within budget. How does SIMLAB help them achieve those goals?
It all comes down to having better visibility and control over the project. SIMLAB gives construction managers a powerful set of tools to track progress, manage resources, and identify potential bottlenecks before they become major problems.
So instead of relying on spreadsheets and phone calls to keep track of everything, the project manager can see the status of each task, the availability of materials, and even the location of each crew member, all in one centralized platform.
Exactly. And because everyone has access to the same real-time information, it eliminates a lot of the miscommunication and delays that plague traditional construction projects.
It's all about transparency and accountability, which ultimately leads to smoother, more efficient projects, and hopefully happier clients.
Absolutely. And here's another benefit. Because SIMLAB is capturing a complete digital record of the construction process, it can be incredibly valuable for future renovations or maintenance work. If anyone ever needs to know how something was built or when a particular task was completed, they can simply refer back to the digital twin and see the entire history.
It's like having a time machine for the building. You can go back and see exactly how everything was put together. That's got to be a huge asset for anyone involved in the long-term management of the building.
It really is. And speaking of long-term management, there's one group we haven't talked about yet, the insurance companies and financial institutions. They're not typically thought of as early adopters of technology, but SIMLAB seems to have something valuable to offer them as well.
Now that's an interesting angle. I wouldn't have immediately thought of insurance companies, but when you think about it, it makes sense. They're all about assessing risk, and a big part of that is understanding the condition of the property they're insuring.
Exactly. And traditionally, that's involved a lot of paperwork, site visits, and guesswork. But with SIMLAB, they have access to a comprehensive digital history of the building. They can see the maintenance records, sensor data, even documentation of past repairs. It's all there, tied to those incredibly detailed 3D scans.
So instead of just relying on a snapshot of the building at a particular moment in time, they have a complete picture of its life cycle, which allows them to make more informed decisions about risk and potentially offer more competitive rates.
Precisely. And it's not just about reducing risk, it's also about building trust. Imagine being a potential buyer and being able to access a complete digital history of the property you're considering. It's a level of transparency that's sure to increase confidence and potentially even drive up property values.
Which brings us to the final group of stakeholders, the real estate developers and property owners. They're always looking for ways to differentiate themselves in a competitive market. How does SIMLAB help them stand out from the crowd?
It's about being able to tell a story. Instead of just marketing a property with glossy brochures and virtual tours, imagine being able to present potential buyers with a complete digital twin that shows them everything about the building, from its construction history to its energy performance.
So it's not just about showing what the building looks like, it's about showcasing its history, its performance, and its potential.
Exactly. It's a way to demonstrate transparency, innovation, and a commitment to sustainability, all of which are increasingly important to today's discerning buyers.
This is fascinating. It seems like SIMLAB is not only changing the way we build and manage buildings, but also reshaping the way we value and interact with the built environment.
Absolutely. And as digital twin technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more innovative applications in the future.
I feel like we've just dipped our toes into the ocean of what's possible with digital twin technology. There's so much more to explore. What struck me most during Koźlak's talk at BIMworld was this incredible sense of potential. Like, we're right on the verge of a seismic shift in the AEC industry.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that we're moving way beyond just 3D visualization. Digital twins are becoming these dynamic hubs for collaboration, analysis, decision-making. It's not just about making a virtual copy, it's about harnessing all the data inside that copy to gain insights and make smarter choices throughout a building's entire life.
And the applications, they seem endless. We've touched on facility management, design, construction, even risk assessment for insurance companies. But what's next? What's the next frontier for digital twins in AEC?
Well, one thing that has me super excited is the whole AI and machine learning integration. Can you imagine digital twins that can actually analyze a building's performance data and then predict when maintenance is needed?
Yeah, or even automatically adjust systems based on real-time conditions. Buildings that can practically think for themselves.
Exactly. And we're already seeing early hints of this in those smart buildings that use sensors and AI to control things like lighting and temperature based on who's there and what's going on. But digital twins take it to a whole other level. We're talking about a truly holistic understanding of the building and every system within it.
Another area I'm fascinated by is the potential for digital twins to boost sustainability. We all know construction is a major contributor to those greenhouse gas emissions we're trying to reduce.
Right. And digital twins could be a game changer here. Imagine simulating different design options to see which one is the most energy efficient before you even break ground. Or using real-time data to pinpoint exactly where energy is being wasted and make adjustments on the fly.
Wow, that's taking sustainable design from guesswork to a data-driven science. Incredible.
And as we shift toward that circular economy everyone's talking about, digital twins could help us track building materials across their entire lifespan. We'd know exactly where they came from, how they were used, and how to make sure they get reused or recycled at the end.
It all sounds amazing, but like any powerful technology, there are bound to be challenges and risks, right?
Oh, for sure. Data security and privacy are absolutely paramount. We have to make sure all that sensitive information stored in those digital twins is locked down tight, protected from anyone who shouldn't have access.
And then there's the whole issue of accessibility. We need to ensure this technology is available to everyone in the industry, not just the big players with tons of resources.
Right. Democratizing access is key. We need open platforms, open standards so everyone can get on board and smaller firms aren't left behind. Interoperability between different systems is essential.
Which brings us full circle to Koźlak's emphasis on collaboration. It's clear that we need everyone working together to really unlock the potential of digital twins and create a built environment that's more sustainable, efficient, and, frankly, just a better place for everyone.
Absolutely. And the exciting thing is we have all the pieces in place, the technology, the vision, and the collective will to make a real difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, if there's one key takeaway for our listeners out there, all those forward-thinking AZ pros, what would it be?
The future of buildings is digital. Digital twin technology is reshaping the way we do everything, and those who embrace it will be the ones shaping the cities of tomorrow.
It's a powerful call to action. The question is, how will you use the power of digital twins to make a lasting impact?
How will you shape a more sustainable, efficient, and human-centered built environment? It's a challenge worth pondering, a challenge that we hope inspires you to push the boundaries of what's possible in AEC. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.